Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're at the end of Agatha all along, and I gotta say, as far as my final verdict on the show is, I actually kind of talked about it last week, but I have to give it credit because I think that this is the most consistently good Marvel show. It's not my favorite. I still think I like, WandaVision. I would say Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as well as Miss Marvel, I think more than this. Well, I should also specify MCU show, like X-Men 97 is like by far and away the best uh, Marvel Studios show, but as far as things that are in the MCU, I would put those three over this. But if I'm being completely honest, those shows have some pretty major issues with them. Agatha just doesn't really have like major issues. It doesn't really have like moments where I'm just like, oh my gosh, what are you doing here? Um, I and I gotta be honest, like even though at the end of the day I like the tone of those three shows more, I connected with those characters more. This was just like a very solid show all throughout. And I think the main reason why I kind of have to come to that conclusion is because they stuck the landing. Like these last two episodes were very solid, and again, like it didn't really have those moments of like, oh man, they're going in this weird direction. I don't know why they decided to do it like this. It's like no, the way that they did it actually made a lot of sense, thematically, and didn't jump the shark in some weird way. You know what I mean? So let's get into it. Episode 8 starts off, and we see Death actually claim Alice. And I just really, I thought this whole Grim Reaper thing of the person dying and seeing themselves outside of their own body, and Death kind of being like, rip, but time to go. I thought that was really cool and sort of introducing that element into the MCU. So is Death something that I'm actually kind of curious about, at least how it works in the comics. Is Death like a god? Because obviously we've seen gods like properly introduced in the MCU with like Thor, Love and Thunder, as well as Moon Knight, right? So is Death considered a like one of those gods that was like introduced into MCU lore? I would be curious about that. Actually, maybe in Thor: Love and Thunder or in Moon Knight, like one of the you can just like see Agatha or not Agatha, but Aubrey Plaza in like the Coliseum or whatever. I'd be curious to see what her character is technically when we take into account like the lore and whatnot. I thought this scene was really cool, where they reveal that like Agatha had been like purposefully sacrificing all the witches, and that and this scene also just kind of like confirms that yes, Agatha does feel for Billy. I think she does have an attachment to him, probably based on their experience. I would argue maybe in WandaVision, but also the fact that he just reminds her of her son. And yeah, in this scene, Aubrey Plaza is like, oh, you gave me all the witches. That's cool. I appreciate that. And yeah, it just sort of confirms that Agatha has been like conspiring this entire time to get rid of all the witches. So yeah, I like this show does a really good job of just recontextualizing the whole series. Like it makes me think about the series. It makes me want to rewatch the series and see it all play out, knowing everybody's intentions, knowing everybody's agenda. This is just really solid show. It just kind of is. But yeah, and then it kind of like that scene kind of wraps up with Death being like, still want the teen. It's either the teen or you, Agatha. And they kind of reveal that I guess because Billy is technically not like a person, he's really more of like a construct, I guess. Death can't just claim him. He needs to turn himself into her. Which is an interesting thing. So like they keep on playing around with the idea that Billy and Tommy, which we'll talk about later, they're not like natural beings. They're not. Yeah, like they don't fit into the natural flow of life and death. They are constructs created by Wanda, which I assume plays into just how powerful Wanda is. So I thought that was all like super just interesting to think about. And then like when they get into the whole chamber where Wanda is helping Billy, save Tommy or whatever and find him a body. It's pretty dark stuff where they I guess Tommy is now in some random ginger's body somewhere, and he was being drowned by like his cousins or his friends or something like that. It was pretty, again, like a pretty dark situation, but yeah, Billy, I guess, did it on accident initially when he jumped into the random teen's body, but now he did it on purpose. He brought his brother Tommy back into the world, and he put him in a random kid's body, and yeah, we'll get into it later, but it's kind of interesting that they tease more story to tell. I was wondering if Agatha was going to be a spinoff, but we very well might get a second season. Or, the storyline will at least pick up in some other project. And yeah, then we get this really cool scene of like Death claiming Agatha. And she was like, I choose death by 1,000 cuts, and she like sends a bunch of like broken glass shards at Agatha, and it starts cutting her up, and it's pretty gruesome. There's this like one bit where she like sends a vine or something out, and it like cuts the back of Agatha's foot, and it was like it was pretty visceral actually. Pretty cool stuff for a Disney Plus show. I mean, where they're getting more into like R-rated territory, right, with Deadpool and Wolverine and Daredevil Born Again and Marvel's Zombies, but the fact that this is all just like PG-13 stuff, I thought it was pretty impressive how visceral they were able to save it, or they were able to make it. Now, one thing that I will say, I kind of don't get why why Wiccan came back to save Agatha. That actually, that is probably one thing that I think I might need to think more about, or maybe somebody can explain to me. What exactly is Wiccan's motivation here? Like, why is he saving Agatha? Like, I understand that Agatha still has, like, not romantic feelings, but, like, she still feels attached to Billy in some way, but I don't really understand why Billy still feels some kind of attachment towards her. Anyways, he comes back and he saves her, right? And then, there's like the whole twist of like Agatha does what she said she was going to do, and she gets Billy to turn himself in. And then, but at the end, Billy's like, by the way, Agatha, you did this before. You killed your son. Although she didn't technically kill him. But in any case, he like reminded her of her son, and so Agatha was like, fine, I'll do like a good thing for the first time in my life. And so she does end up sacrificing herself and kissing death and giving herself over. And yeah, I thought that was like a pretty cool scene as well. And then we get the reveal that Billy actually made the road. So it's kind of like a tie-in to WandaVision in some way, right? Where, like how WandaVision was all a construct of Billy, or of Wanda's mind, the road this entire time has been a construct of Billy's mind. And I guess this is also just kind of a reveal that Billy is kind of as powerful as Wanda, it seems like. I think. Is that what they're kind of implying? The fact that Billy is able to conjure up his own construct, and his own dimension or whatever that they were able to go into and do the road, and it wasn't actually the road because the road doesn't actually exist. And all of the trials and whatnot were themed after stuff in his room. I feel like they're kind of indicating that Billy is around as powerful as Wanda. I don't know if that's necessarily, like, that might not be what they're implying, or at the very least, he has similar abilities, right? So yeah, that was the end of episode 7, and then that was the end of episode 8. Into episode 9, we actually get a bunch of backstory as far as Agatha's concerned, and we sort of see what actually happened with her son. So it seemed like she was in a relationship with Death, but then she got pregnant, and Death, I guess, decided to give her more time, but throughout their entire time alive, her child was sick, and she knew that her child didn't really have much more time to live. Now, something that I am kind of curious about, I couldn't tell if, or I guess something that I was kind of confused about, I kind of couldn't tell if Agatha was killing the witches and taking her powers in order to maintain her child's life. Was she giving that power in, was she putting that power into the child in order to stave off his death, or was that not really a factor and she was just using him to to steal the witch's powers? I kind of couldn't tell exactly what they were trying to do, because the one time that he decided not to help his mom, right? He decided when he decided not to go through with it, that was the time that he died. So I kind of couldn't tell if that's what they were implying. But yeah, anyways, he's dead. And that was kind of the moment where I think Agatha fully just became who she was, and kind of lost her one thing that sort of grounded her in any kind of way, and made her not into a complete monster that that she ends up being. And we get this really cool montage of the Witch's Road and showing how it's all just been a scam, and yeah, it kind of ends with how, showing how the Billy is actually the one that made the road, because Agatha was actually surprised that the road actually ended up being a thing. And again, it makes me think back to the show, because that's actually I think you could kind of pick that up in the episode where they initially open the road. I actually do remember Catherine Hahn's performance, and she was very oh, that worked, I guess. And yeah, I do think that, yeah, no, you could just see it. And again, this show just does a really good job of making you recontextualizing things and making certain puzzle pieces fit together. In just a really cool way. Okay, I will say this next bit is it did kind of make me go what? So how exactly did this work? So I get ghost Agatha. I was trying to think about. So what is the explanation for this? What is the lore explanation? Is it because the deal with Death was that she was either going to give herself up or the teen, but then what actually ended up happening was the teen gave himself up, but then Agatha sort of intervened within that. So since they kind of didn't do either of those things cleanly, maybe it allowed Agatha to take advantage of the situation and just have her exist as some kind of ghost. I don't know. That is a valid criticism, I think, of the episode, where it's okay, so she's just a ghost now. I don't think they really explained the lore behind it very well. Or I don't know, maybe I just didn't pick up on it. You can let me know in the comments down below. But she is a ghost now. And yeah, the episode ends with them going off to find Tommy. I don't know if this is gonna be in like an Agatha all along season 2, or if it's gonna be in some other project. They have not announced it, but there will be more at some point. And yeah, no, these last 2 episodes I just thought were super solid. I thought they were just very entertaining. Like I like all the explanations, all the this was what was actually happening all along. It was they kind of, yeah, I guess redid it was Agatha all along, right? With showing how Agatha has been plotting and scheming this entire time. And they kind of did it again with the teen as well, with Billy, because it was also him all along. He was the one that made the road. So yeah, let me know what you think about these last 2 episodes in the comments down below. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.